this would equate to what Carl Jung calls the shadow. And there is an enormous amount of energy trapped in the shadow that we should have available for us, but that isn't available for us. Why is this? So I use the analogy when I'm giving this talk of like a threshold of consciousness, right? If my threshold of consciousness is here and all this is unconscious and I'm only conscious here, there's all the stuff that I've buried, like, I'm going to give examples of it in a minute. It's all that trapped energy, which is very explosive. All it needs is someone to come and press on an emotional bruise and whew, I'll explode. I've lost the plot. I will react inappropriately. I will get excessively angry, or I will manipulate, or I will make a real mess. And this is what happens. We make a terrible mess in our relationships. These are very destructive emotions. And they control us. It's because we're not even aware of them here, any unpredictable situation can arise and there's an explosion. And there's always a sense of regret afterwards, and we lose a lot of energy, of course, as well. And again, this energy, it's unavailable to us and it works against us. So you could say that I am suppressing an enormous amount of guilt, to use that example. Feeling I've done something really wrong, I don't really want to look at it. And first of all, there's all the energy that's trapped in the guilt, or the anger, or the fear. That's not available to me, first of all. But then there's the energy that I'm using to push that down, to keep that suppressed, to keep that held in cellular memory in the body. That takes energy, believe it or not. It seems bizarre. When I was studying this all those years ago, I thought that was absolutely extraordinary. So that those two lots of energy are not available to us. And, of course, they're held trapped in the body. Target organs. I might scrunch up my stomach. I might scrunch up my shoulders. I will nearly always, it'll affect my breathing. And then you have physical illness and, of course, psychological illness and pain. So what are these emotional bruises? Many, many examples. And I'm going to go into the heavy-duty ones. So maybe, anger. Maybe we were bullied at home or at school. Maybe we were pushed around when we were the little guy and we couldn't stand up for ourselves. And all that anger has had to be pushed away. Maybe it's fear. Maybe there's a scared kid within us crying out, hey, I'm really scared here. And if you have to be brave and be strong, you're never allowed to say, I'm scared. I remember one night I was going through a horrendous insomnia period, and I was listening to Paul Farini on a CD, very inspirational. And he mentioned that. He said, maybe there's a kid in you that's screaming, I'm scared. And when I heard this, I just burst out crying, and I thought, yeah, I am scared, actually. And just being able to acknowledge it to myself, I'm scared, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to sleep properly again, was very, very comforting. Then there's the jealousy. Maybe, you were always passed up in favour of another sister or a brother, or you were never good enough. These are really painful things, And sadness, I think grief, maybe that we've never known how to deal with our grief, and then a very significant person in our lives dies, and we just don't know how to deal with that grief. So very often we get very busy in our outer lives as a way of kind of shelving that. And so on and so on, childhood trauma. And these things, these emotional bruises, as I call them, always seem to stem from way back, formative years. And finally, I've put this in here because when we are very busy trying to avoid all this kind of stuff, we will always have the illusion of no time, because there's all this stuff going on inside me that's saying, don't come in here, don't look at this, don't deal with this. All this resistance is taking a lot of my energy away. And I'm also very busy running in my external life, trying to impress, trying to get something else, trying to appease this. And people have this feeling then, I have no time. But that's an illusion. And the good news is, so most of you in this room now are probably thinking, why would anyone even want to go down to those basement storerooms? And I've met a lot of people that kind of, they lift the lid, they take one look, say, oh, okay, I've dealt with all that now, that's done. Don't need to go there anymore. But to really deal with it, we have to go into it. But the good news is, most of the stuff that we have locked down inside us doesn't even belong to us. It's other people's baggage. And we're going to go into this more.